How social class affects families. Social class is more than just how much money a person or family makes. It is an overwhelming force that impacts every aspect of a family's life, from their opportunities to experiences, and ultimately the challenges they will face. Two perspectives on social class. On the left of the figure is a continuum of resources from richer people above poor people. The right depicts social classes in boxes with smaller, higher classes on top of larger, lower classes. The ladder on the left indicates that individuals can more easily move up and down social classes, where the stacked boxes represent a more distinct difference in between social classes, which leads to a more difficult time to move in between social classes. Which perspective on social class do you think truly captures the essence of the United States? Economic resources, access to jobs. Higher class people are more likely to have access to higher paying jobs due to connections that they have, while lower class families are more likely to stick in blue collar jobs or lower paying jobs, like their families and the people that they know, and children are likely to follow in their parents' footsteps. Accumulation of wealth. People in higher classes are more readily able to accumulate wealth because of higher paying jobs. They're able to obtain more expensive assets, and they usually inherit more wealth from loved ones. Job security. The higher classes have more stable jobs due to higher education, skills, and credentials, where lower class have less job security due to their jobs being more reliant on the economy, and they are more expendable due to the less amount of training and skills that they need for their jobs. Housing stability. Lower class individuals struggle with housing insecurity due to uh, lack of job security, which can cause them to be late on rent or their mortgage. And middle and upper class are more likely to own their homes and less likely to default. Access to education. The higher someone's social class, the more likely they are to get a college education. And we will discuss this further in a couple slides. Access to healthcare. A lot of healthcare in the United States is obtained through an employer. So people with higher paying jobs have access to better healthcare and is more accessible to the employees, and usually the employees pay a less percentage of their salary to obtain care, whereas lower classes have more trouble obtaining health care due to lack of job stability and the price tag on the health care that is accessible to them. Next, we have family stability. So mental health, there's a lot more stress in the lower classes, which leads to greater mental health issues. And then it often goes untreated because of the inability to get care due to the price of healthcare or the amount of hours they work, the inability to make appointments. In addition, people that have mental health often drift down into the lower classes. For example, my father, he came from parents that were really well off. They created great opportunities for their children. My brother is the youngest of four, and he had the same opportunities as his siblings, but he always struggled to, keep a higher paying job. Um, and then he had made bad decisions with his money. And even after inheriting a large sum after his mother passed, he has still maintained lower class status, and he continues to struggle with mental health. Even though he has had the option to get good care, he refuses. Division of labor. Higher class families are less likely to work more than one job, and even if they work longer hours, they can hire help, and that is not the case for lower class families. So they often deal with working several jobs, long hours, and they don't have the opportunity to hire help for household chores or to take care of the kids, which can strain relationships. Parenting challenges. Lower class families have limited resources when it comes to childcare. They often have to choose the cheapest childcare and are unable to provide future care that can aid in their children's development, such as tutors, access to sport teams, other extracurricular activities that is the norm for higher class children. Time with family. Due to long hours that lower class families work, in combination with the inability to hire help, They spend less time together as a family, which can lead to emotional instability. Social mobility. The United States has less social mobility compared to other wealthy countries, and of course, this leads to children ending up in similar situations as their families, and it's difficult to move up and down the ladder. Community support. Middle and upper class families have larger networks, such as private schools, clubs, and they engage in concerted cultivation, where lower class families do not have access to those things, and they are often more worried about their kids having fun and enjoying childhood, which can lead to missed opportunities for their kids to move up in class. Social class networks. The diagram shows the circles are individuals and then they are clustered with their families. The two separate colors indicate separate social classes, and the railroad tracks symbolize the social boundary that we in America face between social classes. Most of the clusters within each individual color, so the orange and the blue, are connected to each other, and there are the two red lines which indicate connections between social classes, which most often are made through marriage. Education, opportunities. All right, as we briefly discussed earlier, lower class families have a more difficult time providing extra care, such as tutoring or enrolling their kids in extracurricular activities, due to the price tag associated with these uniforms, equipment, etc. And it can be a burden even on even if it's a very small price tag with a family with a limited income. And this creates a gap in between the lower class and the higher class children, inequality and disparities. Higher class children are more likely to get additional help with school through private tutors, so they not only can succeed at subjects they're struggling with, but they excel with other subjects. In addition, they go to well-funded schools with lower student to teacher ratios, and they have better technology and equipment. Parental involvement. Lower class parents are less likely to be involved. Um, are more likely to be involved with homework than higher class because they feel a need to be involved, but they have very little time between long hours at work and household chores to be able to be volunteering at school. And so they feel like homework is a good way to be involved while also helping their kid directly. However, there can be a barrier to learning due to the education that the parent received. School choice. Higher class families can send their children to basically any school they choose, and of course, most choose private schools, which are better funded and equipped to help students succeed, along with the schools having a better reputation, which helps when the kids go on to college and getting accepted into college. Barriers to higher education. The largest barrier for lower class children to getting a higher education is that price tag. Parents are often concerned how they'll pay for college, which deters lower class children from going. Um, and higher class children are able to get a higher education because it's expected of them, and their parents are able to help them through the process and help fund it. Long-term impact, because lower class focuses on the accomplishment of natural growth, where they allow the children to grow with protection, comfort, and care, which leads to them being less likely to create an environment that paves the way for the kids to succeed and go to college. Um, these kids are likely to continue the cycle of living in the lower class. The higher class focuses on concerted cultivation to create an environment that helps their children succeed in going to college. Should they, which should allow them to maintain their current social class that they are in or move to the next one. So family differences, divorce, and children. Often people that have less schooling have more children and are at higher risk for divorce than people with a higher education. So neither of my parents went to college. My mom has now, but um, that was many years later. They got divorced when I was 3. Um, and and a good example of a family that had a higher education was my sister's husband. They both went to college. They're still married. They had two kids. Um, my sister's husband and then his sister. And his sister has gone on to a prestigious college. I can't remember the one at the moment. However, my sister's husband never really liked school, and so he decided he would not participate in higher learning. Um, Growing up in a single parent household with a working class mother struggling to make ends meet was, of course, not the ideal situation. College was a far-fetched dream for me and my siblings. Um, and I feel like that would be a leading cause as to why both of my brothers dropped out of high school. It was a lot of pressure and ultimately just to be buried under student loans. However, both of my brothers have paved their own path. My oldest brother got his GED and he now works painting parts for military vehicles, aircraft, armored vehicles, etc. My other brother was a head chef at a restaurant and he never even got his GED. My sister got her bachelor's, is working on her master's. She's a teacher. She loves what she does, but she is buried under a lot of student loans. Um, I graduated high school a year and a half early. I went to alternative school because I wanted to get out of my hometown as fast as possible. I joined the military, and now 10 years later, I am going to college full time and working towards my bachelor's. I've always thought about what life would be like on the other side of the train tracks. I know I would have had better opportunities, but I probably wouldn't have my siblings. Probably I wouldn't exist since I am the youngest. But I am grateful for the opportunities I have had, even on the lower side of the tracks, and I know that I can cross them if I really set my heart and mind to it. Some things to ponder. How has your social class affected you, your college experience, your extended family, your immediate family, and your hopes for a future family if you do not already have one? Thank you.